All right, we are here at MediaCom Stadium on the Drake University campus. I'm Ben Brackett alongside the Titan tactician Matt Sahag, and of course Damian Corriere. Damian Corriere, I can say it, I swear. We're just, we're a little slap happy out here. We've been going at it. We're on what, day 4 right now? Day 4. We've been here all day, every day, and we're having a great time. We just watched the 3A semifinal, which was the Des Moines Hoover Huskies against the Norwalk Warriors. And then here at MediaCom for 2A, you had the Gilbert Tigers taking on Sioux City Bishop Heelan, whose mascot I don't know offhand. Well, let's get to it. Damian, you took in the 2A game. You're an Ames guy, so Gilbert's in your neck of the woods.
Yeah.
Big letdown for them today, I would say.
Yeah, I think. And I just got done speaking to a bunch of the families. They know what's up. I said it the other day about the players that they have, the families that they have, and their experience within the game. So they're intelligent enough to know. They got. Listen, like, at the end of the day, I predicted they would win, so let's get that out the way, right? I said they were going to win because I didn't think anyone would outwork them, and I just watched the team in Bishop Heelan just outwork Gilbert in every phase of play, in every third of the pitch, and it just wasn't good enough from Gilbert in possession, out of possession, defending, shocking, and Bishop Heelan looked cleaner technically, shape was better. They defended very well, sat in the mid block, very comfortable, out of possession, would intercept passes, anticipated well. Just got outworked, clinical.
So talk to me about that, the mid block, and what you mean by that. I'm assuming what you mean is they didn't really drop deep, they didn't really press high, they just sort of.
Yeah. So context is they were defending. I wish we could see this, but we don't have a camera guy. They were defending more within the 30. So if we're using the football lines, unfortunately, they were sitting in more like within the 30 to the 40, right? Okay. So their own 30 and then the opposition 40, and they kind of let the back line just.
Really, they're letting the game come to them.
They were, and they did a really good job of just they were moving as the ball was moving, and I think Gilbert just lacked ideas, and so eventually they would just play balls into channels, direct over the top, and just couldn't get anything done. I think in the second half they had probably 4 shots, 3 of them on target. I think the toughest thing the goalkeeper had to do was the Jackson Johnson corner kick from this side, which he had to come out and punch away. So just not good enough, not creative enough from Gilbert. I think they lacked ideas and lacked a shape to really expose Bishop Heelan's defending.
Well, Gilbert's style of play seemed consistent with what we saw out of them last year, but last year they were just so dominant physically that their direct style of play wasn't really it wasn't necessarily negative.
Yeah, and they did lose some pieces last year, right? So you lose a big-time goal scorer, you lose one of your center backs. So those obviously we know are key pieces, spine players, that one putting in goals and one preventing goals. And I think if you look at Gilbert's back line, whether or not it's intentional or not with Bishop Heelan in the second half, they played a lot of speculative balls into the box, and that's what led to the first goal in the second half, was a ball that Gilbert couldn't deal with. And then I just thought, you've got a guy that's dribbling in or around the box to his left, and you over pursue, so you're defending at the wrong angle, you allow him to cut back, and then it's smash goal.
So talk about Bishop Heelan a little bit. The number 9 for them has scored 27 goals during the regular season, and Sergio Mijangos, sorry if I butchered that, but it was close, I'm guessing. 27 goals on the season. Was he a factor?
Yeah, everyone was. Their front 3 were good, and they were stretching these guys out. And again, it was a lot of counter-attacking stuff and counter-attacking moments from them within the second half. They looked dangerous moving forward every time they had the ball, and they were picking the right spots to pressure. But again, it wasn't so much a build-up game from them. It was very much defend, win it, direct, ask questions of the back line, and then we could win a second ball or intercept a pass or make a tackle within the back line and just pressurize those guys.
Well, we got a perfect segue coming here. So Gilbert had beaten Sioux City Bishop Heelan earlier in the year 1-0, so Bishop Heelan with the revenge factor, which was also the case. There's my segue over at 3A. Matt, you watched the Hoover Huskies defeat the Norwalk Warriors, and revenge was top of mind for them, wasn't it?
Yeah, we just heard from the guys here in their post-game interviews too. Exactly that, right? They
knocked out last year in the semifinal by Norwalk.
Yeah, exactly. And they were they had said we actually hoped to get those guys in the final this year, but we just got them one game early. But they were happy to play them. So the game started off. It looked all Hoover. It was kind of one of those games where you had spells where it looked all one team and then looked all the other team. Definitely started off Hoover, and then Norwalk grew into the game a little bit. But I'd say Hoover, by and large, from what I saw throughout the first half, had the run of play. Their number 9, who's got an argument that he could be the player of the tournament.
I was going to ask you about him. 4 goals in 2 games.
Yeah, there's been 2 strikers I've really liked, and that's in this tournament. That's Ankeny's
Landon
Benj, and then Hoover's 9,
Javier
Flores. I mean, I'd love to see them. You know, everyone plays 4-3-3 now, but I just think like beyond the next level, like if they're going to college or something like that, I think if a team played with 2 strikers,
he'd be
a couple years down the road, he'd be a great complement to Landon Benj, right? You've got this big, strong target player.
Yep.
He's really technical as well. So I mean, he may be one of the most technical players in the tournament and one of the most physically strong and big and imposing players.
He uses his body like just so well. He's always putting himself in between the ball and the defender and holding people off.
Yeah, and I think that's something we don't see, at least here in Iowa. I think the game we don't see it very
right?
Totally overall in the game, but here he's the only player. There's no other player like him in the tournament, and so there's a free kick. That's called probably from 20-25 yards, and he curls one in, top corner. Goalkeeper might have gotten a hand on it, but it's one of those, it hits the bottom of the post, drops in, and then drops to the floor, and then drops in or goes back in. It was a great free kick. They go up 1-0, and at halftime it's 1-0. I came up here to check out the game, so I saw 15-20 minutes, and I went back down there, and by the time I got back down there, it's 2-1. Huskies are up. So I missed the 2 of the goals.
Javier Flores did score the winner, though.
So he gets the winner. And to be honest, from what I saw, it was, Hoover had the run of play. Game gets a little bit chippy towards the end. Some
with a yellow card, the coach for Hoover.
Emotions
what happened.
Well, so when the referee came off, I said to him, I was like, I want to know all about that interaction. and I'd like to know from Rubinho too, but from what I could tell, there was a foul that Hoover didn't agree with, and then the player, I think, also ended up getting a yellow card. Or maybe not. I don't know. There's a foul they didn't agree with. Maybe there's a yellow card. But then, the referee goes over, and Rubinho and the referee were face-to-face, jawing at each other. And then all of a sudden, you see the hand go way up in the air, and yellow card. And then it's like the signal, like, okay, I got a yellow card.
Let's calm down.
Time not to push this anymore.
I'm done here, yeah.
But he kind of, like, the emotion to me felt right for what Hoover was experiencing. Everything was on the line for them. And then when they won, it was just, pure elation. And those guys are dancing around. They can celebrate with the best of them. So
yeah, right on. We had a nice chat with Ben Masengo and Remy Saidi, a couple of seniors for Hoover, and they were singing the praises of Javier Flores. And just, I feel like they've got it really in their mind that they want to win that state title and bring it back to Des Moines. I think it's been a long time since. I honestly think like Roosevelt in the late 90s was the last time you would have seen a Des Moines Metro school in the state final of any class. So just really exciting, I think, for the Hoover Huskies.
And they've been a strong team all year. We had to play against them in Ames, and they gave us, obviously they beat us, but the guys that you guys had on, Ben's going on to play collegiately.
Yep.
I don't know about some of the other guys in the program, but yeah, I'll be rooting for him, pulling for him. Yeah.
So Matt, what do you think was the turf a factor at all? We went from the long grass over at County, and then you had the Drake the Drake Stadium turf over there. It didn't look like the quality of turf here at MediaCom. This brand new stadium looks great. I don't know, any comment on that?
I think it plays into Hoover's hand, right? Like those guys are pretty skillful and pretty technical. They like to keep the ball on the ground. They're good with their feet. So I think technically they're a better team than Norwalk. I think so. I think if you lack technical ability, like just not saying you're a bad player, but just you're too shades away from the other side, the turf's going to make a big difference for the team who's better technically. So I saw in the first half a lot of balls that would get played in behind and just go out of bounds, right? Because the ball keeps running. Whereas at County, it would have checked up. It wouldn't even get it close to the end line of the touch line. The other thing you see is when a player gets into space and gets it off their feet, it goes too far. So it's either a tackle or it's even going out of bounds. So it does play a factor for sure. And I think it's an adjustment for everyone. But
well, the other thing I noticed at County, people were going to ground a lot more in slide tackling. I would guess that's probably less the case here, because I don't know, I'd be curious.
Yeah, we saw some big ones here, but
okay.
You know, I think it just maybe depends on. Well, I mean, I'll just say, I mean, you're not going to see a ton of slide tackling in the women's game. You just don't.
Fair.
I love it when I do, but
yeah, right on.
But yeah,
the Bettendorf striker, she was definitely a slide tackler.
Yeah, Carson will slide tackle her mom if she
yeah,
wants
she
to,
would.
So, I mean,
it just depends if you want a big old nasty, what do they call them, roses or bruised or raspberries.
Yeah,
There you go.
I used to live with those on the side of my hips. Ugh.
Yeah.
Well,
I think they'd be more likely to slide on this newer turf than
sure.
they would something that's a bit more matted and beat up.
It is amazing the quality of the turf difference.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be really interesting to see how Hoover then does. They'll play the winner of DCG and I should know this off the top of my head. Is anybody going to help me?
No.
Cedar Rapids, Washington.
No, we're just going to leave you be.
And
That's
then
your job.
2A, Sioux City Bishop Heelan will take on the winner of Perry and the Davenport Assumption Knights. Let's just sign off here and we'll go watch a couple more games. Thanks to Damo and the Titan Tactician. What a day, what a night. We're here, it's getting late, it's nice and dark. We're here at MediaCom Stadium. We've got all sorts of recaps for you. We gave you a 10 a.m. recap earlier, and now we're just gonna rip through a 1 p.m., 4 p.m., and 7 p.m. recap. So quickly, I've got Damien Corriere all the way on the left there. I've got the Titan Tactician, Matt Sehag, next to him, and then my guy, Weston McPhee. Wes, what's up? How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm excited. We just saw some great soccer all day long. The 10 a.m. games we told you about already, so let's just talk about those 1 p.m. games real quick. We had 3A and 2A. 3A here, or sorry, 3A over at Drake Stadium and 2A here at MediaCom. Overall, are you ready? Are you ready to know who's playing?
I'd love to know.
Okay, great. So I'm going to think about it for a second. DCG played against Cedar Rapids, Washington over there on MediaCom Field. And at the same time, over here, we had Perry taking on Davenport Assumption in the 2A match. The Davenport Assumption Knights knocking off the Perry Blue Jays, which was a bummer for the local flair, but it's got to be said, Davenport Assumption, perennial powerhouse. Damo, do you want to give us your quick Dan Rothert impression of talking about Davenport Assumption?
Yeah, I mean, I think Davenport Assumption was solid. They were in there doing things, making things dangerous. Putting balls in the mixer, and that was my Dan Rothert impersonation.
It was not as good as it was earlier.
Yeah, I know, but you can see this, you can't see it. No, but I do think, listen, to be fair, it was a fairly level game within the first half.
It was.
And a late goal by Davenport, last 5 minutes. They get a ball out wide, ball in the box, they get one in and get the job done. So maybe not maybe, but definitely pulling for Perry a little bit within that situation. Want to see some good vibes in that community.
Perry mini pitch too, so
yeah,
there's that.
But but good job by Assumption to stick with that. And
so we've got an all-private school final for 2A. You've got Sioux City Bishop Heelan against Davenport Assumption. I think it's going to be a good game. I couldn't tell you if I've got a winner in that, other than I assume with Davenport Assumption, I early on thought that they weren't going to be like that 10-7 record. Kind of had maybe a down year record-wise from what we're used to, but then bang bang, couple wins. Like I'm guessing they're going to be pretty tough to beat in the final. Nobody's going to say anything.
Yeah, that would be my assumption as well.
Were you assuming things with Assumption?
Well, I thought it was going to be tough for Perry to get through them anyways, because just experienced team and they know how to battle.
Totally. So 3A game, DCG, who looks like a team on fire, if you will. They
boys and girls.
Yes, it's a school on fire. The Mustangs are on fire. The DCG boys, they took on Cedar Rapids, Washington, who had beaten Xavier the other day. DCG, man, I'm telling you what, they're really good, and they've got players all over the field. They got Ben Jackson, they've got Cy. I'm sorry, Cy, I'm going to say your last name wrong. Karofsky's, yeah. You got Tate McDermott. It's just a strong team all the way around, and they have leaders. They're disciplined. I think they're a massive problem for the Hoover Huskies. I'll just talk about the third goal because it was just so well worked. They won 4-0, but it was Tate McDermott picks the ball up in the midfield, plays a little 1-2 with his wide midfielder, clips the ball into the channel. Ben Jackson, who is an absolute beast. This guy scored, I don't know offhand, but it's 30-some-odd goals this year. And I gave his bicep a little touch the other day. I mean, he's got some guns, man. This is a big dude.
Safe sport. Are you good there?
This is a big kid, though. He's running the channel, and he whips a ball through the 6-yard box. Whips the ball through the 6-yard box inside with a great finish to the near post. And it was one of those goals that was like right off the training ground. Like it's a pattern play, and it looks like they're tough.
So I've been saying now to you guys, I think for a couple of days, I don't understand why DCG is a 3A team. I think they're a 4A school, right? On both sides, boys and girls, and obviously,
school, yeah.
That's just how I look at them as a 4A school, just based on how they're just running through these brackets at the state tournament, not only this year, but for several years. So I'll be kind of interested maybe after the tournament gets over to understand why they're a 3A instead of 4A. I'm sure it's because of enrollment and stuff like that. I don't understand those rules.
I heard a rumor that they're getting bumped up next year because they're going to continue
promotion
to grow.
Relegation for high school? Is this what we're proposing here?
It would be great if they
that
did.
would be awesome. But I think they're obviously. They're obviously on. I mean, I don't know if there's a dispute that we go 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A, like the level gets better and more competitive. I don't know if there's a dispute over that. I feel that way, but I just feel like DCG on both boys and girls, they should be a 4A school, and I'd love to see them like competing against teams like Johnston and Dowling and PV like we've seen, because they're totally good enough.
It'd be interesting to do like at the end of the year, like all the 1A, 2A, 3A, 4A state champions, like all play like a little mini tournament just for fun. Just be really interesting to see how they all matched up in that kind of scenario.
Yeah.
But so DCG, Hoover Huskies, a little local flair in the final. We love that. There's no question about that. I think that's going to be a really good 3A final. And the 2A final, obviously, we talked about, a little private school affair. 4 o'clock rolled around. What do we see at 4 o'clock? 4 o'clock, we had Van Meter over at Drake Stadium. They played
West Liberty.
Thank you, Weston. Good. West Liberty, one of the most, one of the best fan groups, right? Like they've got they had a priest with a cowboy hat. They had music going, their school song. They were like rushing the field.
Had drums out there. Oh yeah.
So good.
Yeah, but not tonight.
Yeah, they did not have it tonight.
No.
Maybe a little bit of controversy.
Yeah, so this is a venue concern that I have about atmosphere, right? And I think a lot of other people might share this concern. But what I heard was that maybe Wes should take this because I heard it from him. I heard they tried to get some of their music into the stadium and they were denied.
Really?
On the quarterfinal night, it was awesome, right?
Yeah,
it was
great.
a really cool atmosphere, and so they were denied in this environment, and it was a little quieter than it was in the other in the quarterfinal match. And so I don't think it made a difference in the result, but I don't know, I don't like that.
Yeah, we love the atmosphere, and I think that's part of the state tournament. And there's really no question when you look at these two venues, Drake Stadium versus MediaCom Stadium. MediaCom is like 5 times, 10 times better than Drake Stadium?
100 times.
Yeah, Drake Stadium is a 20,000. Maybe that's not true. I'm making up a number, but it's like a 20,000 seat stadium. It's
a bowl. I mean, it's got a track around it.
It looked like an empty bowl today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though maybe the same amount of fans were in that stadium versus this stadium.
You would never know that.
I will just say it, just because.
I was going to say it, guys.
Go for it.
I don't think we should be here. I think we should be at County. I think we've missed out on a really good opportunity to maintain an atmosphere that allows people to bounce from field to field and is a bit more, I'll use the word inclusive just because I think it's, whatever. But I just think that we should really, I know we can't because there's contracts and money and all sorts of stuff, but we're missing out on the experience. I think it's going to be even more notable next year when we're in my adopted hometown of Ames with the girls tournament. But I'll leave it at that. We'll do a pod on it, maybe on whatever, but invite me on it. But
we'll think about it.
I'll go there for now. So,
well, let's not.
Well, before we change subjects,
well,
I like where you're going with that, right? And so, like, I'm sort of leaning your way. This is a beautiful stadium and all that, but
hold the finals here. That's fine.
But that is the quarterfinal day at County, boys and girls, for the last few years has been a celebration of the game in our state. And part of that is the atmosphere. And when on at 7:30 kickoff for Dowling versus
Pleasant
Ankeny,
Valley. The other night,
Ankeny in the quarterfinal game, it was the last game of the night, and it was close. And so when all those other games finished, the entire complex transferred over to that game, and the atmosphere was unreal. That cannot be replicated when you come to venues like this. And so we've got a beautiful venue here. This is awesome, and it was an awesome atmosphere tonight.
Yeah, it was.
But I'm there with you.
It's an awesome atmosphere for one match, but there's nothing. And I'll even go back to the club environment when we used to have state cups that were bigger and involved all the clubs that were in the state. There was nothing like being at a game, whether you were watching or coaching, and you would hear the screams from another field, and you would instantaneously turn around and you'd see your colleagues or other club coaches and families celebrating. And County had that feel last year. For me, being a part of that for the first time as a staff, it was special. It actually was what got me to understand the high school experience in Iowa as someone that didn't grow up here, and I just think we've missed it, but whatever.
Well, and the history of it too, though, like you go to a similar facility at Muscatine to County, where it's all the games are going on all at once, and it's still like this celebration atmosphere, a celebratory type atmosphere. And I think that, you're right. Like there's got to be a way to replicate that in some way, and it's really cool. And unfortunately, you guys didn't have the opportunity to play in it, but as somebody who did, like it's awesome.
Humble brag.
Well, that I'm from Iowa. Sorry, guys. I went to high school in Iowa. No big deal.
He was also the Gatorade player of the year.
We're not talking about any of those things. So, anyway, let's talk about Van Meter, because they're underdogs, the 8 seed. They roll in the first round. They roll in the second round. To me, even though Regina Catholic, I think is it Regina Catholic or just Regina? I don't know.
Let's go with Regina. That sounds good.
I guess Catholic makes it really polarizing, doesn't it? But
not necessarily. It doesn't.
I believe they are Regina Catholic.
Okay, thank you. So regardless, Regina will play Van Meter, but I think Van Meter's the favorite, even though they're the 8 seed, because they're just on fire right now. Matt?
It shouldn't be the 8 seed. They're never the 8 seed. They're actually the 1 seed, right?
I question the seeding.
In the first 15 minutes of the game versus West Branch, I decided in my own mind that I was flipping the bracket. And that Van Meter was now the 1 seed. And so the way I went into today's game was that Van Meter was the 1 seed, and the 1 seed won today, and they won handedly.
Handedly or candidly?
Both. Whatever the right word is.
I would absolutely agree with that.
It's late at night. Whatever the right word has been, they won easily. And so
Hog pile.
I think, I've said it before, but I think they've got the mix this year, right, to make it happen. And what's cool about Van Meter too is it's not only the talent of the players. I think it's the cohesion in the group, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And I think it's from top down, coaching staff and the players and all that stuff. They've just really got something going on, but it's something they've built over the last 4 years, right? And it feels like even if they win the tournament or lose tomorrow, they're on the upward swing, right? And
100%.
And Van Meter is a community. If we know what the demographics look like in what our communities look like, that's a community that's going to continue to grow. And so I think there's a lot of positive things that are going to flow from this Van Meter performance, both on the high school side. I don't doubt it's going to trickle on the club side too, whether it's at Waukee through VSA in different
which is
clubs.
Where I think a lot of their players play.
Right,
yeah.
or just in Van Meter club soccer or with little kids too.
Yeah.
And so I think the impact of what they're doing right now is huge. And so I don't want that to get lost in the fact that they're just chasing a state title, because I think they're going to win. I think they're going to win easily tomorrow, but I think their win is bigger than just winning the state championship.
So was I the only one over here that did the interview with them after the game? Or were
No,
you
I
guys
was-
there for that?
Well, I might have been somewhere else.
Well, that's fair, and I just sort of shut everything else out while I'm doing that. But if you listen to him, Wes, the stuff that Matt's saying is exactly what they were saying it without being coached or told what to say. They were saying the exact same thing that Matt was saying. So like, I mean, it's tough to not be like, yeah, this is a good squad, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm going to go back to what Matt was saying, that the whole community is really growing and getting behind the team for sure. That I was shocked at how many fans they had out there. And they were on the edge of their seat for every little action that Van Meter was a part of, whether they wanted to foul, whether they were on the counter, whether they were heading towards goal. They were. I
feel like they were cheering throw-ins.
I mean, they were like they were West Liberty. It really awesome. Was. I was like, the roles were flipped for the fan bases. It was different over there, and I definitely think they are the ones that are going to win.
Fair enough. Damo, you're smiling. What do you got?
I'm all in with Van Meter. I'm pumping every nickel, dime I have in
Come on, Jonah.
Meter,
he's a bulldog.
in the Van Meter of the parking that is being
very good. Oh, he's got a
hashtag dad joke. All right. It was building. It was funnier like 7 minutes ago when I came up with it, and I was like, oh, this is really good. And then you guys kept talking, so I was like, all right, that's fair enough.
So okay, that was the 1A 4 p.m. game. I think it's hard not to call it the main event. You had the state final rematch from last year for 4A with the Johnston Dragons here against Iowa City West Trojans on the Mediacom Stadium field. Beautiful night. Like, we couldn't ask for a better game, really.
Yeah, the match was good. I mean, obviously you've got two high quality opponents going at it, and both teams obviously. Listen, Johnson's stacked. They've got, full disclosure, coach and names. They've got players on their, bench that you sit there and most schools would go, yeah, okay, we'll take them on our team.
Sure.
And so, yeah, they sit there and they play a good match, and I think fairly direct at times, but I think that's part of their DNA, and that's fine. There's no judgment on that. Iowa City West got good players too. I thought it was a level match, but it comes down to moments within the match, and there were some moments there that swung one way or the other.
Well, I thought it was really interesting the comments that we heard from Coach Stiles at halftime, just mentioning that the board up above, so right, the Mediacom has this amazing video board up there where they're playing replays of like chances, goals, cards, stuff like that. And so the way the game goes, Iowa City West scores first, good goal, and as Johnston sort of storms back, they score a goal that it's debatable that it's offside, but apparently like all the players were complaining to the referee like, hey, look at the board. And it's so funny to hear Brad just go like, wait, why are we doing this? Like, this has never been a problem before. Now my players are like all out of sorts because they're like, you missed a call. Like, look, you can see it.
Yeah.
So we're going to go to our referee expert here real quick. Matt, how do you feel about that? Like, knowing, like, think about that. If you're the center, you're Chris Civitat, and now you get to be questioned every time you make a call.
I mean, you got to be right. I mean, the players have to be right.
That's fair.
So the referee's got to be right, and it's a little bit more difficult on the referee because the feedback is right there. But if you think about it for the players too, there's a lot of replays that happen in the game that are shown on that board too, and so there's goals that are replays, and so for the attacking player, it's an instantaneous feedback that he's done a good job. For the defensive players, it's instant feedback that they've made mistakes. So I don't think it's just the referee that gets instant feedback, right? Now, it's a little bit more difficult for the referee because nobody likes the referee, right? Usually, I'm just saying, like,
nobody's
I like referees, Hito.
No, I'm just saying there's not.
Nobody's very definitive.
No, I'm just saying nobody's ever going to go to bat for the referee except for the referee. So it's harder for them, right? So I don't know. I mean, look, we have TV now at all levels of the game, and so there's instantaneous feedback. I also think there's room for error for referees. So if you want to put the shoe on the other foot too for the players, it's like, okay, let's just start taking pictures of all your mistakes, right? Every time you take a bad touch.
Give the ball away, have a donkey touch.
Exactly. Every time it goes out of bounds in the turf. So
the donkey touch thing would have got me.
So there's room for error for referees. And I'm sorry, but I haven't seen a referee in this tournament that has changed the outcome of the game. I haven't.
No, that's fair. That's actually great to be able to say that.
And I also really haven't seen a player who has crossed the boundaries for like doing something that's totally inappropriate, right? We've seen some hard tackles, we've seen some yellow cards. I don't remember.
We saw a red card, but it was questionable.
So there's room for error for everyone. If Chris made a mistake, so be it. I bet Chris would be the first one to say he made a mistake too after the game.
I think generally
I didn't see it, quite honestly.
I think generally speaking, referees are quick to admit their mistakes. Like good referees, at least, for sure.
Yeah.
But
that game was not won and lost on the referee.
No,
so let's be clear.
No, not at all. Not at all. And I think it was really the 1-1 result ultimately was fair. And it's just unfortunate because we have to pick a winner. So let's talk penalty shootout. Wes, you and I we've had a few long conversations in the past few days about when you're coaching goalkeepers, what are you thinking about? And I can tell you from a shooter's standpoint, the way that I think, or the way that I think a lot of maybe players think. But talk about the goalkeeper thing a little bit. And we only saw. We saw 2 posts, and am I mixing this up a little bit? Two posts and an actual physical save by the Iowa City West goalkeeper. Correct.
The one was right down the middle.
Yeah. So just talk a little bit about. So the goalkeeper for Johnston really doesn't make a save. The Iowa City West hits the post twice. One of the times he sort of like deflects it after it hits the post, and then the Iowa City West goalkeeper makes a clean save. But I don't know, let's spitball on this a little bit. What'd you think?
Yeah, so through our conversations, I've talked about if you don't have a scouting report on who's going to take penalties.
Do you think these guys had scouting reports?
This far in the season, I would think, hey,
you think so, right?
These couple guys are probably going to take penalties, and they should have video.
Anybody with a note in their sock.
Well, you don't have to. You should know, okay, this guy's going to come up, he favors this side. This guy comes up, he favors this side.
I think knowing those 2 coaches,
those are 2 very prepared coaches.
And you're in a semifinal. If you're not
100%.
prepared, if you're not prepared to get to the semifinal, then I don't know if you deserve to be here.
Sure.
If you don't have a scouting report, it's a goalkeeper checklist. So
let's walk through that one. I like this because I was like, is this a thing? And it absolutely is.
Yeah. So obviously, what side the player stands on is what foot he's probably going to take it with. You got to look at his hips as he approaches the ball. If his hips are down, he's going to go near side. His hips are up, he's going to go far side. Now, this isn't 100% accurate, but it increases your chances to about a mid-70s chance of picking the right side.
And then what do we say? Like the actual rate is like an
about 80%
score
chance.
rate versus a 20% save rate. So
save or miss. Yeah.
So you got you're basically 4 out of 5. You're making it. And so as a goalkeeper, it becomes a game of odds.
Yeah, you just got to do everything you can do to increase your chances.
The thing that I noticed tonight was that the goalkeepers were not super patient. And the most common run-up, which I absolutely hate, is these guys, they go straight back, and if he's right-footed, he goes to his right first and then runs around. And
changes his approach.
Yeah, and I just feel like that's a great way to miss a penalty.
Just extra steps to maybe throw your hips and
you're like waiting for the goalkeeper. Like maybe the goalkeeper makes a move, so you're just giving him a bunch of opportunities.
Mimicking professionals.
Yeah,
that's what kids are doing.
Correct, but I don't like it as a professionals doing it either, because I feel like you're just offering so many more little cues for the goalkeeper to go off of. And these are just opinions, of course. So I don't know if it's right or wrong, but I feel like that was like the most common run up. Stinking Ronaldo.
Yeah, there was a couple short run-ups too, which I don't. I mean, if we're going to,
I love a short run-up.
I'm a massive fan of a short run-up. For me, it's I don't know.
Yeah, I'm personally a medium run-up guy.
Let me how many of those run-ups that you don't like missed? 0.
No, I agree. I'm not.
Okay.
But
the short run-up did though. At the end.
All the run-ups that Ben hates, everyone executed their penalty. So
he just hates it though, but
he doesn't like it.
Unless they're names.
He doesn't like it, but apparently it's effective. So.
Unless they're in names.
That's
all right. So I just felt the raindrop, so we're just going to keep this thing moving. Yeah. So we're not going to get stuck on the penalties. Congrats to the Johnson Dragons.
Well, and congratulations to Iowa City West. They played.
I said that to Sheffield after the game. Yep. Congratulations on a great season.
Yeah, and there's some really good players on that side.
So 7 p.m. games then. We've got North Fayette Valley over there taking on Regina. Ended with Regina as the winner, so that puts us
North Fayette.
North Fayette won?
North Fayette won.
Oh, I just got stuck on the whole Regina thing before. So North Fayette won?
In 2 overtimes.
Well, it's a good thing we've got
1-0.
Wes here. Thank you, Wes.
Yeah.
The light blue from North Fayette Valley with the big win, and that puts them in the final against Van Meter. Matt's already told us that Van Meter is the favorite. Did you get you seen any of the North Fayette Valley game?
I saw the game when they played
on Wednesday.
Yeah, their quarterfinal game, and I thought the only way that they would get through Regina is if they got the ball to their number 9, Lincoln, that had like
guy that was hunting the ball.
Yeah, hunting the ball, and I'm not exactly how the goal went, but I'm sure that he was a part of it. Regina that I saw in their quarterfinal game was super defensive and really disciplined, and I'm sure he was a part of their goal.
Well, it's going to be a big test for the Bulldogs over from Van Meter, see if they can handle North Fayette Valley. And then, I mean, what an end to the night for us. We were over here again at the MediaCom Stadium for the 4A other semifinal, which was Dowling Catholic against Pleasant Valley. Did we all pick Pleasant Valley, or?
No.
No, I picked Dowling. I'm fairly certain.
I'm pretty sure I picked Pleasant Valley. I'm pretty sure Wes did too.
I punted on it, and I told you I would decide later. I mean, I think after watching that game tonight, the outcome was right.
Agreed.
I do.
I think Dowling's a really good team, and Pleasant Valley, for all the good things that they do and how difficult they are to beat, they just weren't quite as good as Dowling.
Yeah, I agree.
So we went after Henry Barker for his missed penalty, but then he finished the rebound to make it 1-0.
Mm-hmm.
Pleasant Valley with a great goal after that. Who saw that one? I didn't actually.
Cross from the right side, flick on from the front post, went to the back post. It was great. The goalkeeper had no chance.
So it goes 1-1, and then second half, like, pretty muted. As far as chances, like, I didn't see a ton of chances leading up to the goal.
Yeah.
But what a great winner.
It was a great finish. Who was it?
It was Kevin.
Kevin Kopic
again.
Yeah, he's got himself 2 game winners in 2 games. He and Javier Flores right now battling it out to see who's going to be the player of the tournament.
I think one of the cool things about Dowling is that if they're going to win this, is they're going to have to find players that are going to fill roles, right? Obviously, again, the huge missing piece is Mendez, and so I think what we're seeing is players picking up the pieces and starting to become impact players, and Kevin's clearly one of those players.
100%.
So I mean, I've tracked Dowling now last year, even in this season, and I'm sorry, Kevin, but I didn't really know who you were until you sort of like arrived on the scene.
He announced himself, didn't he?
Yeah, and he's announced himself not only tonight but a couple of nights ago too, and so I think now all of a sudden teams have to prepare for him, because he's getting game winners, and that I think that throws a sort of another element of analysis for Johnston as they go into this game. But you've got him, you've got it's a Crowder as well.
Mm-hmm.
I like Josiah Crowder up there, and then in with the Barca and Gradell and like all these other players and Foth at the back. So for me, you've just got this really. I think you've got a team gelling at the right moments, even without one of their players, and I think that's remarkable for that team, because. Again, I hate to be beating the dead horse here, but did I get that one right, Ben?
You did. Thank you.
The terminology, but when you lose a
something.
Massive player like that can be a huge downer. And they've kept on going, and they're in the final now, and I think it's theirs to lose. That's how I'm looking at it.
I think
quickly.
I think what they lost was a player, but they did not lose a personality.
That's perfect.
So when you've got a Jonathan,
perfect.
Listen, he is still helping his team.
Yeah.
So
might be putting a target on their back a little bit, but he's
sure.
helping that team to get through these tough situations.
So Damon, what I was just going to quick say is shout out for our social media and our YouTube. Check out the post-game interview with the Dowling boys, because what's the word you use? Personality?
Yeah. No,
I mean these guys have it in bunches.
He's got it in loads. And listen, to be fair, and you said it, like Henry's a kid on his own that could take over a match.
For sure.
Ian Gradell's a kid that now gets pushed up and maybe asked to do some work, maybe more advanced off the pitch at times, but they go, and let's not forget. I mean, it was late in the game.
It was 5 minutes.
The Dowling goalkeeper made a massive save.
What a save!
A massive
fingernail save, as Blake Sievers called it.
So yeah, I think it's a complete team effort. Dowling's a very good team. Johnson's a very good team, and again, they've got kids and coaching staffs that are going to be well prepared for the match tomorrow. So it's going to be fun.
And,
yeah, I'm really excited.
What I would say too is what I love about this final is we're right here in Des Moines, right? So we're local, and so all the fans are right here. And so I'm hoping they pack this place tonight or tomorrow night.
For sure.
Because it was a cool atmosphere tonight. I think we're going to double that tomorrow night.
Tickets are available if you need.
And
let us know.
But the crowd's going to be, I think, a big influence in tomorrow night's final. So.
Well, let's just do a quick prediction because we love a prediction, right? Weston 4A final. Who you got? Johnson, Dowling.
I picked PV in for this game.
Oof.
So yeah, I think Dowling has the upper hand.
Really?
I do.
Shaggy boy?
Yeah, I've got Dowling. I think it's 2-0 Dowling tomorrow.
2-0 Dowling. Jimmy, did you hear that? Damo.
I'm going to stay neutral on this one and say I don't know. No, I'm kidding. I'll go Dowling. I think Dowling pulls it off. Nothing personal, no judgment on anything. I just think Dowling pulls off the match.
Well, back to Saheg real quick. Saheg, you have been on fire with your predictions.
Yeah, except for Johnson, right? So like
you always. So by you saying that Dowling wins 2-0,
that's right. That's likely
I think you're
wrong.
Basically saying Johnson.
That's
will win.
likely wrong, right?
That's basically what you're saying.
I don't know. I mean, so we know that both these teams are watching these predictions, right?
100%.
Because they've both asked us about these, and so, yeah. I mean, for you two to come in with me and say you think it's Dowling, that my track record is not real good in my predictions against Johnston.
But surely we're not going to put this out tonight, all right? We'll put this out like Monday, right?
No, this is coming out. So
Let's go, Evan. Come on.
For all you guys watching,
work,
like for Johnston, you guys got to prove us all wrong, and for Dowling, you've got to get me on the winning streak here because I'm missing the mark here.
Listen, I'm not at all surprised if Johnson wins the match.
Yeah.
Right? When put on to make a prediction, I'll stick with it. But Johnson's a quality opponent.
Yeah, I think that.
And they're the defending champ.
Yep.
I think the edge that Dowling has is the little bit that they had on the front of their shirt, the revenge tour. They've been thinking about this for a long time, probably about 365 days. And then on the other hand, you've got Johnson, who's been like, the big dogs for the past year, and they've had a target on their back for sure. But
they've dealt with that target very well, though.
They have.
Yep.
And so I guess really where I'm going with this is, I feel like it's a little bit of a knife edge situation here, and
I do feel like their hunger has grown.
I know, that's
through sub-state and even.
So I'm going to tell you,
game.
Frizzell, my drags, you guys are going to have that fire burning deep down in you to beat the Dowling Maroons tomorrow, because I think that Jacko and Garrett Crawl are going to have big dog, little dog. They're going to have that team rocking and rolling. And you can be sure that the entire school of Dowling is going to be here.
Yeah. Can I just say though, the mentality of all those players is unbelievable.
Love
It's
it.
awesome.
It's great.
Right? And I've said this more than once, even though I've picked it against Johnson. I love how assertive and cocky those guys are.
Yeah,
I love
great.
that. I love how that flows through Frizzell and Stork and all that stuff. It's so awesome to see.
Did you pick up on that?
So I feel like that's I like that because
it's fine.
I hope
very
that
obvious,
I
though.
see a little of
There's nothing wrong
that
with that,
in
yeah.
myself too when I was backup player.
Yeah.
I think everyone would agree. And so if they win the game, I want to be the first to congratulate them as well, right? So same thing with Dowling. Those boys, when they were up here tonight, I mean, they've got something about them that really wants to win it. And so in a lot of ways, it's going to be sad that there's got to be a loser tomorrow night.
For sure. That's a big bummer. But there definitely has to be. And we're going to be here tomorrow night. Please come join us. It's going to be some good soccer. Damien Corriere, thank you. Matt Saheg, the Titan Tactician, of course, thank you. And Wes, thank you as well.
Thanks for letting me be here.
We'll see you tomorrow. Well, actually, you're going to go see the girls for us tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be on the girls' side.
We'll be here hanging out at Drake, and it's going to be a good day.